Hey Fit Vegans in the making, I hope you're doing great. So today I'm going to show you the top 7 vegan protein sources for bodybuilding. So if you're already training in the gym or you're thinking about just starting out maybe, and you're following a vegan nutrition and you really want to make sure that you get the most bang out of your buck and you eat the protein that is best for you, then this video is the right one for you. So if you just give me a couple of minutes, I'm going to show you the top 7 vegan protein sources for bodybuilding so you can make sure that you consume the right foods to guarantee muscle hypertrophy. I'm vegan since 5-6 years now, and over the time my focus on protein has shifted a little bit. In the beginning to completely ignoring it, to right now I'm paying more attention to it and making sure that I eat the right amount of protein to guarantee muscle growth. So just give me a couple of minutes. If you like the content of this channel, afterwards you can smash the goddamn like button so this channel stays in good favor. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. The top 7 vegan protein source, and we start with the number 7, is fake meat products. Essentially, when I started out my story, so to speak, of becoming vegan, is I was a heavy meat eater before, and I was eating the classic bodybuilding diet, chicken breast, white rice, and broccoli. Now, a very simple switch that I made once I became vegan is I simply switched the chicken breast with a fake chicken breast, so fake meat. And this is the easiest thing that you can do. It's still crap food, which means calorie-rich and processed food. But that's because that's why it's number 7 and not number 1. So fake meat products are not the most healthiest when it comes to protein sources, but it makes the switch to a vegan nutrition quite easy. So top 7 is fake meat products. Now, if you go to top 6, and this is something that I've battled with for a long time, is protein powder. Now, when I started out, I used to be a true fan of protein powder. And I would drink too many protein shakes a day, four or 5 times even. Thought it was this magic thing to guarantee your muscle growth. Then I went completely in the opposite direction, never took protein powder again. And now I'm kind of going back in the middle of understanding, yes, it can enhance your muscle protein synthesis, your muscle growth, your hypertrophy, so to speak, but it's not that necessary. So it's not the holy grail that you should be focusing on. There are a couple of things that are way more important. But nowadays I drink about 1 protein shake a day just so I can make sure that I get sufficient amount of protein in for muscle hypertrophy. Now, if your goal is to simply maintain your muscle mass or lose weight, then protein shakes are not 100% advised, but when it comes to building muscle, it's a good thing and it's easy to use. Yeah. Okay. Now the top 5. By the way, the protein powder that I recommend are usually a blend, so I don't recommend just soy protein, because if you have a lot of processed soy, it could not be that beneficial for you in the long term. So I would recommend the protein blend of like hemp, pea, a little bit of soy in there, and brown rice. You know, there are plenty of protein blends that you can find out there. Just make sure it's vegan. The top 5 protein source for vegan bodybuilding is seitan, and what seitan is essentially a wheat product, and it contains gluten. Now, I remember the first time I tasted seitan, I was like, damn, this tastes like meat. That's really nice. So it's a little bit different, I would say, than fake meat products, because fake meat products are usually more processed because they add some additional salt on there. But if you buy seitan, or the next protein source I'm gonna show you afterwards, in pure form, so to speak, in the supermarkets, it's a little bit better than the fake meat products that you see out there, because there's a little bit more processed stuff going on. But seitan is generally something that I really like. It tastes good and has a very high amount of protein. Just make sure that if you're sensitive to gluten, this is not your go-to source, because seitan contains a lot of gluten, because it's a wheat product. The top 4 is tofu, and the reason tofu is a little bit higher than seitan simply because it's personal preference. And I think tofu is a very good food when it comes to getting your protein in. It's very healthy. Like the Japanese have been eating this for a very long time. It's essentially soybeans, just in a more processed form. That's why it's not top 1, because it's processed, which means it's probably not the healthiest healthiest alternative out there. It's very healthy when you compare it to chicken breast, obviously, or when you compare it to donuts, but it's not as healthy when you compare it to the other foods. Now, remember, in the beginning, I thought vegans were hippies, and I thought tofu was not food for real men, like steak real men should eat steak. And the first time I tried tofu, I think I didn't even like it that much. They're like, oh yeah, it tastes like nothing. But over time, I just got used to the food, and now I think it's one of my favorite, to eat, and it's a very good protein source for bodybuilding. The top 3 is nuts and seeds. Now, here you need to be aware of that nuts and seeds generally have a lot of calories. Why? Because they're very calorie dense, which means they don't have a lot of water. That's why they're so stiff usually when you eat it. But nuts and seeds are very high in protein. So I would recommend you to eat a handful of almonds a day. So it's about, not a handful, a little bit more, about 35 grams or so of almonds I eat a day to get my vitamin E in and some additional amount of protein. And you should also make sure that you, on a daily basis, you eat some flax seeds, because they're a very good source of healthy fatty acids, and they add some additional protein to your nutrition. So generally, nuts and seeds are a very healthy source for your protein. Just make sure that you don't overdo it. You don't want to eat like almonds constantly, because otherwise you will likely gain weight, because it's just a very calorie dense food. The second protein source that I would recommend you is lentils. And I remember, I think before I went vegan, I think I never really ate lentils. But after you become vegan, it's also like what this video should be about. You just see more opportunities. And also, like when you're looking for protein sources in vegan nutrition, I mean, you will find it. It's if you don't want, let's say a lot of meat eaters, to say, okay, there's not enough protein on a vegan diet, but they never really tried to find it. They're just confirming their current viewpoint. So a very, very easy and a very healthy protein source on the vegan nutrition is simply lentils. And 100 grams of like boiled lentils, I just recently checked, is about 9 grams of protein, which is a sufficient amount, So the first one, the top 1 vegan protein source, now who could have guessed it? It's beans. And I'm a true fan of kidney beans. I'm a true fan of unprocessed soybeans, so edamame. Again, Japanese have been eating this for a very long time, and they used to have a very long life expectancy. Is just beans in general. And beans can add a sufficient amount, like a good amount of protein to your daily nutrition. So you simply add some kidney beans, like you can buy them in canned form or like unprocessed, like raw in the supermarket. And you can add it to your lunch or to your dinner, or you can switch it with lentils. The way how I structure my meals usually is one form of like carbohydrates, like rice, brown rice or pasta, one form of like vegetables, usually broccoli or spinach, on one form of protein, usually beans, lentils, tofu, seitan, whatever. And this is what I would advise you to you. If you're unsure about any of these things, about any of these top 7 vegan protein sources, you can still like if you're unsure in general about protein sources on a vegan diet, you can just make sure that you drink 1 protein shake a day, and that's it. And if you want to maximize all of these to the best of your abilities, then just go at it step by step. Okay, I think that's the best advice I can give you today, is don't be overwhelmed by these 7 vegan protein sources. You don't need to apply all of them in your life. You just need to make sure that protein is abundant on the vegan nutrition. There's not a real case of protein deficiency if you eat a sufficient amount of calories. So if you want to maximize, this was the video, but if you want to maximize your vegan performance, if you want to get in the best shape of your life, and you want to work directly with me, go to qualitygains.com and you can apply for a free consultation where we take a look at your current situation. I'm going to advise you how you can get to that next level when it comes to your performance, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your appearance. Okay guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time.